Hello and thank you for tuning in. This video is brought to you by SpringPoint Solutions and covers the mobile time clock. The mobile time clock is part of the SpringPoint suite, which allows employees to punch in, process time, and punch out. The mobile time clock also manages work activities if scheduled for the employee in Motorbase. Time clock administrators can still view all activity in Motorbase that is completed in the mobile time clock. There are 3 ways to gain access to the mobile time clock. On the App Changer menu, on the reporting dashboard, which is also the default landing page when logging in via spsuite.com, and also the upper right of every screen in the suite. Users may also wish to set the time clock as their default start page. This is done under My Account. Doing so means that anytime this user logs into the suite, they'll be taken to the time clock first. I'm not yet punched in. This means that the personalized banner across the top shows no job information, only my name. On the right, we can see a ticking clock, but no time that we've been punched in for below that. The items at the bottom of the screen that are available to us when we are not punched in are schedule and labor. And once punched in, we will have access to more functionality. There are 2 ways to begin work on the mobile time clock, manually or using the schedule. The punch in button will allow me to punch in by manually filling in. You can begin by filtering the list of jobs by customer or even job ID. Once a job is selected, we can view and edit the location and status of that job at this time, and also we can view the supervisor. If we choose to punch into more than one job at a time, we can do so, but we lose the ability to view and edit these items. When one job is selected, we can also select multiple work codes. The work code determines the department selected here. Our earning ID was filled in automatically based on what was set up on my employee record. This is also editable if needed. Let's go ahead and punch in and see what happens to our time clock then. The job we are punched into has a customer tied to it, and that customer has specific requirements that have been set up in Motorbase. These pop up each time we come to the time clock to remind us of them. After that time, they are available under the Customer Requirements section. Now that we are punched in, we can see some changes have happened to our personal banner. The job and customer information is displayed below my name, and anytime I click or tap on that personalized banner, we have easy access to some job details. In addition, on the right under our clock, we can see how long we've been punched in for. At the top of the page, we can edit our punch values by using the Edit Punch button. This allows us to change the values without processing time. We can use the Punch Out button to process the time we've spent and punch us out. Or we can process our time, which allows us to process the time spent so far without punching us out. Now, in order for us to move on with the process of viewing the employee schedule, I'm going to punch out now. The system has now processed the time we spent and punched us out. Any time spent and processed for today can be viewed in the labor section. There's also a total hours worked at the top of the page. Schedule is also a way to view and interact with the employee schedule that's been set up in Motorbase. And by default, this page will always show non-completed activities that are scheduled for today. Activities that are due today will show in red. The Look Ahead button allows the employee to see what might be scheduled after today. Things that are targeted for tomorrow will show in yellow. There's an Action button in each scheduled activity. If there is a job form tied to the job in that scheduled activity, our Action button will feature the QM icon. This is letting us know that the user has tasks to complete in the QM wizard associated with this job. Let's click on the first item in the schedule. Since we are not punched in, it's asking us if we're ready to do so. Let's say yes. Our punch form has been pre-filled with the job and work code on that schedule item. It's showing us our job details and giving us an option to make any changes necessary, and we can punch in. Now that I'm punched into that job, we are seeing our customer requirements, and we can navigate directly into the QM Wizard. If we return to the time clock now, we can see some changes have happened to our time clock. We can see our job and our customer information in the upper left, and anytime you click or tap on the personalized banner, we can see the details of that job. On the right, below our ticking clock, we can see how long we've been punched in for. Our schedule also has changed, and in bold we can see what we are currently punched into. Now let's say I went ahead and completed those tasks in the QM Wizard, and I'm ready to complete this scheduled activity. I can use the Complete button to do so right here. Doing this has processed the time that I've spent so far. Once we mark a scheduled activity as completed, it no longer shows for us here in the schedule. Let's go ahead and choose the next schedule item. We have two options. We can edit punch without processing, or we can process and continue. And since we use the Complete button, we know we just processed. We'll go ahead and edit punch without processing. Next, let's take a look and see what the Process button will do in this case. We need to let a little time pass so that we're able to use the Process button. Now that a little time has passed by, we can demonstrate what happens with the Process button. The system has detected that we are currently punched into a schedule item, and it's asking us now if we want to mark that complete. Let's go ahead and say yes, and process our time. Once that's finished, it's letting us know there's another scheduled activity right behind it and asking us if we'd like to use that activity. So what happened here is that our schedule item was marked complete, our time was processed, and we're ready to move on to the next task, and the time clock is helping facilitate that process. We'll say yes. Now, instead of going to the QM here, as we normally would, what I'd like to do is demonstrate some other functionality that's available to us on the time clock page. We've already taken a look at the schedule and the three buttons across the top. Below that is job info. This shows the current reason for repair, cause of failure, required work, and comments for the job that we are currently punched into. Now these are read only, but what I can do is I can add to them by typing into here, choosing what field we'd like to add to or append to, and hit add. An administrator has the ability to disallow employees from adding to these items. This is done on the System Manager in the Rule Permissions section. The Job Log section allows the employee to make additions to the Log tab, which is part of the Job Details page in Motorbase. The Nameplate section displays the items or equipment associated with the job the employee is currently punched into. These are editable here as well. The items that are required will show in yellow, but this requirement is not enforced at this time. The Attachments section shows how many attachments have been uploaded to the job we are currently punched into. That is this one here. And when you click or tap on that tab, a new browser tab is opened to the Attachment Manager for that job so that these attachments can be viewed, printed, downloaded, or emailed. Returning to the time clock, we can see the Materials section. There are two items in the Materials section, Used on Job and Needed for Job. These equate to the motor-based time clock materials and requisition tabs. If materials are used on a job, they'll be shown here in the bottom, and the employee has the ability to add them as well. The same goes for requisitions. Those can be added here, and any current requisitions on a job will show at the bottom. We hope you found this video helpful and encourage you to check out our other training videos and knowledge-based topics. These are accessible by using the Help section in the upper right of every screen or the Help in the lower right.